Welcome to Two Taps and Friends. Grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into another episode of Two Taps and Friends.
Welcome back, everybody, to Two Taps and Friends. I'm here. I have my colleagues again, Michael Dye and Larry Schweiker, back to talk about a couple more topics that people came to us with. And, everybody's ready to go.
What are today's topics, Danny? Give it to us.
I don't like being ordered around.
That's topic one. Danny does not like being ordered around.
So the first topic people come to us.
Is your wife listening? She's
You're like an old Jewish man, dude. You
I am an old Jewish
people.
man.
You direct people. You remind me of my father a lot. You got rules.
Your father's a good man.
You got rules. He's a good man.
Yes.
But he fucking, there's a word for it.
I'm blushing. Make me blush.
It picks up well on the camera.
Go ahead.
Your whole forehead's blushing. So the first topic people asked to talk about are talking to law enforcement. Last time we talked about just getting pulled over, how to deal with cops. But I think what I see people call me a lot about, and this works for everyday people, because we get into law topics, people fucking fall asleep. It's too boring, Not our shit, but, it can get for us, it's not boring.
Turn it off now, ladies and gentlemen.
Someone trying to fucking listen to,
it
has to be entertaining for them to even listen, right? Or
totally
something that they
boring.
go through, right? Daily, or they might encounter. So the number one thing with me is I'll get a call where someone's like, listen, a detective's been calling me. We spoke to them a few times, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried, and I think we need a lawyer now. And I'm like, I think you needed a lawyer the first time the motherfucker called you, all right? Because I don't give a shit who you are, anybody listening.
They're all hypothetical.
I don't even care if you're a lawyer, all right? If you're not a criminal defense lawyer, you have no fucking business speaking to law enforcement ever.
Nothing good will come out of it.
Nothing good.
I prefer to take it in a step-by-step process. Rule 1, shut the fuck up.
Right. What's
Rule
2? Shut the fuck up.
If you think that Rule 1 doesn't apply, go back and read Rule 1 again.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Don't talk.
Look, people don't get that. Law enforcement officers, their job is to build a case against you. Not to skew one against you, but they're investigating a case. So what I tell people is they have to connect the dots on everything, right? That's their job. So the problem is when I don't care if you're a lawyer or you're intelligent, you think you can talk to people, and you can talk to people, you have no idea where the direction of that conversation is going. They have to connect every dot, so you have no idea what dot they're missing, right? You might say something like, well, yeah, I was at the house, but I didn't touch her, and you think that's fucking great, right? They might not be able to prove. You might not even prove you were in the house, so you don't fucking talk, right? Don't talk. Don't be cheap. Call a fucking defense lawyer.
The problem is they don't come to us as hypotheticals. They actually pretend it is. Well, what if someone was to say to a cop X, Y, and Z?
I have a friend.
Did you exactly?
Yeah, right.
What did you say to him? Was it X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C also?
Dude, what the fuck? So by then, listen, they don't need a search warrant. They don't need to read you their rights. That's another thing. Let's just view off on that a little bit.
Your rights?
I love that. Yeah, they sure did. They fucking, didn't read me my rights. The case is easy. I'm like, okay. It doesn't apply all the time. Like reading your rights, you have to be in custody and you have to be interrogated. Has to be both, okay? So like if I'm on the phone and I'm a detective talking to you, you're not in custody. So I can interrogate you. I don't need to read your fucking rights, all right? So when you say something to me, I'm going to put that down in my report if I'm a law enforcement officer, and you just fucked yourself. So
Better yet, if somebody just stumbles, like a police officer, not even making a traffic stop, sees you driving, stumble out of your car drunk, throw up, and then get back in the car.
Yeah, dude.
He is going to arrest you. He does not need a warrant, and he does not need to read you your rights.
Why? Because he's not going to interrogate you, dude. He's going to take you into custody. Now, if he takes you into custody and then afterwards says, hey, where were you drinking? How many drinks did you have? He would need to read you your rights for that statement to get in. Just the statement, not his observation of you fucking puking all over yourself getting out of the car. So be smart. The Miranda rights is what they call. When people say, they didn't read me my Miranda. It only applies when those two things are in place. Just remember that, all right?
But I think that brings up an important topic that it is so important for people not to talk to the police that the Supreme Court makes the police remind you how stupid it is to talk to them.
Exactly.
It's that bad of an idea.
Just before you keep talking, I need to read a few lines to you, right?
This is such a bad idea. Let me remind you to shut up.
yet
They
we
still
have-
do it, dude. They still do it
Exactly.
every time. No, I talk to the detective. He's really nice. He's a nice guy. Look, he's a fucking nice guy. He might be a nice guy, but you
Probably
just,
is.
nobody's saying they're not nice. They're doing their job, and they're allowed to lie to you, right? They're allowed to lie to you. People are like, oh, he lied to me? Yeah, he lied to you. If he thinks that you're guilty of something, he's allowed to build his case. So that's why I tell people, if law enforcement calls you, when you call me or Larry or Michael, the first thing we're going to do is going to call the law enforcement, whether it's a federal agent, a state agent, I don't give a shit who it is, any law enforcement. They know at that point, most of these guys that have been around, these law enforcement officers, they know it's over. Their investigation is over. With a good defense attorney calls, I'm going to say, hey, how you doing? They're like, hey, Danny, how are you? Listen, I know you're calling my guy. What can we help you with? Well, I just want to get his side of the story. As usually we give. I want to get his side of the story, give him the opportunity. I'm like, yeah,
To
listen.
do what?
Yeah, to do what?
Incriminate
Yeah,
himself.
yeah. Listen, here's
close
what I
the
tell
file.
him. My line is, well, you've been doing this for a while, right, officer? Yes, I have. Like, then and I have too. So I wouldn't be doing this for a while if I allowed my clients to just give statements to you guys. And they're like, yeah, I know, Danny, I know. So the next thing is like, look, do you have an arrest warrant? Well, not right now. I'm like, okay. Most times they don't. If they're trying to ask these questions, a lot of times they're trying to build a case to get to an arrest warrant. So don't help them, right? So I say, do you have an arrest warrant? And they'll say, well, not now, but I'm getting. All right, well, when you do have it, let us know. We'll surrender our client. We'll make it peace. Nobody wants officers kicking down doors for officer safety, for the safety of the people in the house. We'll surrender them.
Safety for the neighbor, the wrong
Safety
door
for the
to kick
neighbor,
down.
the wrong shootout. We don't want any of that, right?
Wrong
We
door
want
to
everybody
kick
to be
in.
alive, right? We'll surrender them. We'll get a bond. We'll defend the case. And I'll defend the case. We'll defend the case without a fucking admission or confession or something that would screw you, even if you didn't do something. Sometimes you don't even do it and you say something so stupid it could damn you. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just look at the statute books and think of how many different criminal laws there are. The odds that you're going to go through an interrogation and not confess to something illegal is like minute.
Yeah, dude,
So,
we're all doing something slightly illegal daily, okay? Whether it's fucking
My favorite
texting and
response.
driving. Not that I condone that, but
My favorite response is to say, what do you think you're going to say to them to say, it wasn't him?
Right, right. Like, exactly.
I'm going to tell them it wasn't me. There you go.
I think they know you're going to say that, right? Like, it's very.
You don't have to say that. We're good.
And I mean, the only time we've ever given a statement I can think of in like 20-some years is when my guy was like in Pago Pago, Samoa, when the crime happened, right?
Not true.
You're
I
bringing
gave
an
a
alibi, right? An alibi.
I gave a statement.
Yeah, but you're a schmuck. Yeah, but you did it for shits and giggles to make it interesting.
Yeah, no,
I'm talking about a layman.
Yeah, okay.
A layman.
But I didn't get charged.
Okay, but when you're a trained lawyer, a criminal defense lawyer, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to tell you
This
what
does
you
not
need
apply
to
to
do.
that.
That's on you, dude. But when you're not, you need to listen. You need to call. And most times, a lawyer will just tell you to shut the fuck up, even if you don't hire him. You know, if you don't want to pay money and hire them to talk to law enforcement, they'll say, listen, you need to hire me. Oh, I don't have money. Well, don't fucking talk to law enforcement, right? They'll remind you
So
not
this
to
is your
do
free
it.
consultation
Yeah,
from
free
Danny.
advice.
Shut
You're
the fuck
getting a
up.
lot of free legal advice right now. That's like the number one
Don't
thing.
talk to anybody.
I mean, how much do you guys get this, dude? How much do you get this?
Every time. And then they come, like, after they've spoken to the police and buried themselves, then they come to me and they're like, what, you're not going to be able to do it? It's like, I'm not Harry Potter, motherfucker. By the time you got to me, 99% of your fate you already sealed by running your mouth. Just shut up.
I had
Don't
one
say
guy
anything.
got arrested, wouldn't shut the fuck up, admitting what he did, right? It's on body cam. The cop's like, I have a body cam on. All of your statements are being recorded right now. I know, man. I just feel real bad about it. I just want to apologize to everybody. I'm like, listen, this isn't 7th grade, okay, where you go apologize to the principal and things work out. If you've done something, I'm not saying you should feel bad. There'll be a time for you to apologize. Don't fucking do it on a body cam while you still have to defend your case. Then the guy goes, he's like, well, if you take me to my house, I'll give up all the stolen goods. The guy's like, sure, why not, right? He fucking drove to the guy's house. The guy's like, cop's like, well, you unlock the door. Yeah, no problem. Unlocks the door, goes in, comes out with all the stolen shit. He's like, yeah, I think my case is easy. I'm like, I think your case is not easy. I think it's not
easy for the
easy
state.
at all. I think it's easy for them, right? Yeah, you're damn right. It's easy, you know?
Well, people think that if they cooperate, that it's going to go easier on them. Like, no, there's a score sheet. All right? You score X.
Yeah, for the people that don't know, score sheets are in Florida and in federal. There's a certain guideline that they go by to negotiate with you, to make offers to you. So, and it's only for felonies and it's the level of the charge that you have has a point system to it, your priors, all that stuff goes into it, and it does this little funky equation that after 22 years we still can't figure out too well.
What is it, multiply by, subtract 26 and multiply
I don't
by
know, dude. It's
27
this whole
times?
calculus. The only thing I've ever used calculus for is fucking guidelines in my life, right?
thought you never need math.
To figure out like what the minimum offer is. That's what he's saying, just to give a fucking interlude so you know what we're talking about. But anyway, go back to what you're saying.
What happens is people think that they're going to cooperate. They're going to, the police are going to get there and they're going to say, okay, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry that I robbed her. I know she looked like she was 90. I'm sorry. Here's the gun. It's still a mandatory minimum, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like you're not.
You're
It
still
doesn't
going to
help.
prison.
Like I said, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to stop them from doing that. My famous line to when I did a lot of DUI trials, they would, all your roadside exercises are voluntary. You don't have to do those. You say no. You can say you don't want to do those.
Right.
I was, well,
Or they call it tests. The
The
best
test.
is they
Well,
call it
they
test.
can't call it
It's a
test,
test.
yeah.
It's not a test.
It's not a
You
test.
can't pass the test, right? Just an interlude. If you're in a DUI, you can't pass the test. They're doing it to use more evidence against you. They want you to fall on your fucking face.
Well, that's the officer. So what would if he did it perfect? Were you going to unarrest him? He's already under arrest. Well, no, because he could. So those tests are useless.
Dude, do you know how many professional athletes I've seen do the fucking test perfectly, right? Like, as perfect as you can, they still get fucking arrested. Like, what I tell people in DUI, if you get pulled out of the car,
You're gone. It's over.
You're going.
don't say a fucking word. Don't do anything. Be polite. Don't be like, fuck you, cop. I don't, stay calm.
That'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah, how to get your ass kicked. Chris Rock. See it on YouTube. We'll link down below. Just stay calm and just say, no, sir. Thank you. But you're going to jail. You just have to understand, like, at that point, you're going to jail if you're pulled out of the vehicle.
Well, they're gonna
Gone are the
ask you-
days where they put you back in the car and let you drive home,
Were
right?
there ever
Yeah.
days that they did that?
I think in the 70s and 80s, I hear stories. I've
Oh,
never
it was
seen
a
it.
traffic ticket. Your DUI is a traffic citation.
Well,
Right.
What's going to happen is they're going to come to the window, and it's called the pre-exit interview. They're going to start asking you questions like license and registration, and they're judging you the whole time. They're trying
yeah.
to see like
fumbled his
if you're fumbling around with
registration.
your papers. Did you pass by? I had a client who handed his Blockbuster card to the cop, and then once they tell you to go ahead and step outside of the car, you're getting arrested. All right, that's it. If they ask you how much you had to drink, and the appropriate answer should always be nothing because you shouldn't drink and drive, is, they're going to tell you to step out of the car, you're going to jail. Don't take the roadside sobriety exercises. You don't have to. It's not legally required, but be polite. No, thank you, officer. I would prefer not
That's
to.
it, right?
That's
And then, if they're going to arrest you, it's a much more defensible case for DUI,
Well, everything goes in that police report. Oh, he handed me his library card first, not his license, or his credit card first.
Well, it starts off with bloodshot, glassy eyes, slurred
Or
speech.
the
It's like they have
worst
a
is like-
hotkey.
Right. Or the worst is when they say, yeah, I had a couple of glasses of wine. Don't fucking say that.
I never drink 2 drinks because it's either 1 or at least 3.
Yeah, just don't say, I'm sorry, but I'm not telling people to lie, but just don't say I had a drink, all right? If that
If
means
I
lying,
had 2
then
drinks.
fucking lie. I'm sorry I
Actually,
said
this
that.
goes back to the don't say anything. I'd prefer not to answer questions, officer.
Dude, if you had one drink, well, that's not going to blow a point. It doesn't matter. It's observations, total observations of the officer. Remember that. It's the totality of circumstances, right?
answer me this.
If he sees you, if you say you had one drink, he can use that against you. He's going to use that with the exercise. Oh, you started too early, or you didn't say it fast enough, or you fumbled your license. They're building a case. Don't say anything. Have you had anything to drink tonight? I hate saying the lie, but don't answer that question, right? And I don't, oh, well, I smell alcohol. I'd be like, you know what? I smell fucking lilacs on Wednesday. I don't know what to tell you, officer. That's what I would say.
There you go.
I have these weird scents, these phantom scents, I smell cheesecake on Tuesdays. I don't know what to tell you, officer. That's what I would do, you know?
I don't know how that works out for you. You just
Yeah,
tell everybody.
That
to
might
be
get
cool.
you slammed on the fucking concrete. Never mind.
All right, Chris
See
Rock.
Chris Rock. We'll link it down below.
My favorite that female cop, really attractive, walks up to my client's car, and it's license and registration. Have you had anything to drink? It's my client's birthday. And he goes, oh, you guys did it. I love it when strippers dress up like cops. And she just
Oh, my
out of the
God.
car.
I want to get air freshener that smells like alcohol in my car.
That's a terrible
That's a-
idea.
that's
No,
the
it's a
dumbest idea.
ultimate defense. I smell alcohol. Yep, my air
By
freshener.
scope air freshener, Yeah, but it goes to like talking with law enforcement. Again, you think you can talk your way. I had one guy, Literally, this guy had a glass of wine. He wasn't even my client. Like, I had another lawyer who sends, a friend of mine sends criminal cases, does a different kind of law. Says, dude, there's a guy, he's pulled over right now. He hit, a motorcycle hit his car, and the guy died. He's in the back of the car, and I'm like, he's in the back of a cop car, and he's calling you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can you talk to him? I'm not hired or anything. I'm like, sure. I'm like, dude, what happened? He goes, dude, I was driving home and this motorcycle came out of nowhere and hit me and the guy died. And I'm like, and he goes, the cop knows it's the other guy's fault. I didn't do anything wrong. And he's like, yeah, but you know, I had a glass of wine at dinner. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to say that. And he's like, well, why? I'm like, because if you say that, he's going to shift this. And even if it wasn't your fault, you've had a drink and someone got hit. Like, it's bad. Don't say it. And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, and he didn't, so he's still walking around.
He's in the back of the police car being recorded on this. So.
Right. But he's sitting outside on he was sitting on the curb or whatever, you know? But like, don't answer those questions. Don't give away things like that, you know what I mean?
There's no answer that's ever going to help you.
It's not a good idea.
The number one thing that I tell people is shut up and call a lawyer. Simple as that. Call a lawyer, and a good lawyer that's not a defense lawyer will call a defense lawyer. He's not going to try to give you advice, you know? So that's number 1, 2, and 3, right? Anything you guys want to add on that?
No.
I have a sign in my office that says, don't confuse my law degree with your Google search.
Oh, yeah, stay off of Google.
Stay off of Google, right?
Stay off of Google. That's how I ended up with the
You
fourth
end up
kid.
with a TikTok video of a guy videoing the guy getting thrown on the thing. I know my rights. I know I'm allowed to just roll it down and hold the fucking camera. Like, what are you doing, dude? You're going to get your ass kicked, you know? Unbelievable. And
they kind of deserve it. I kind of cheer for the cops in this.
No, I do, honestly. We watch so many body cams, and like when the guy's being an asshole, you're like, oh God. What I do see mostly is cops being real fucking patient, you know? Like the cop will be like, sir, I'm going to say it one more time. If you keep doing that, we're good. Most cops, they're not looking. I'm sorry, but most cops are just trying to do their job, man. Like, and when you're throwing shade and you're talking shit to them, you're just exacerbating. You're making them do more shit, and the cop will be like, listen, I'm going to say it again. If you don't leave, I'm going to have to arrest you. Why do I need to leave? Because the place is trespassing you, but it's not fair. I want my discount. I literally watched a body cam about a lady getting mad about a discount, you know? It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
Those videos, back in the day, used to have VCR tapes, all the BAT facilities when they do the breath test. They're all recorded.
Breath alcohol facilities.
They would send over, as a public defender, they send over your video, and it would be another 3 hours of video. They just use the same VCR tape over and over. So it's for entertainment, and just watch all the things that go on there. And if your client's not drunk and you're the one person that night that's not, these guys have watched 50 people come through there, throwing up on their shoes, screaming, taking their clothes off. It's the craziest thing. It's the most entertaining video you can watch.
Those are great videos.
And you're the one person that comes in that's not, like, okay.
You're looking pretty good just by comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
It's amazing what you see on those tapes.
Yeah, and then it can go wrong. You can either incriminate yourself or talking to law enforcement you think is law enforcement get you in a scam. Have you heard this scam? I had a guy call me. This is twice in the last like 2 or 3 months. Listen, I have law enforcement on the phone. He says he's a Homeland agent or something, or some like, you know, Secret Service or some stupid shit, right? And he says that I missed federal jury duty and that there's a warrant for my arrest. But they just want to work it out with me and have me pay a civil fine and they won't have to arrest me. I'm like, oh yeah. There's about 10 things wrong with your scenario already, all right? And I have him on the line because he says that I'm not allowed to hang up. I have to keep him on the line or else they're going to come arrest me. I'm like, oh. Merge me on that line, right? Merge me on that line. So he merges me on. The guy's like, yeah, this is agent so-and-so. I'm like, oh, agent so-and-so. What's the so-and-so? Can you give me the full name and any of your, oh, yeah, look. And I'm like, yeah, where are you at now? I'm at the Miami-Dade police station. I'm like, oh, so you're a federal agent and you're in a state police. Well, they let me use the office here sometimes. I'm like, oh, do they?
Oh, we're improvising now.
He's like,
There we
all
go.
right, well, give me a number to call back. I'll call, I want to just verify that. So I call another phone and Miami-Dade, and they just spoof the numbers, right?
Yeah.
They can spoof the numbers. So he's like, listen, I'm like, yeah, okay.
It's a whole Ferris
I'm like,
Bueller
listen,
thing
I'm
going
going to tell you right now, stop calling fucking people, you scumbag, right? I hate people that do shit like that. So I hang up on him. And the guy, it's not my client. He's like a guy that like was potentially going to hire me. So I try to call him back. I say, I call him. I say, listen, don't speak to anybody. Be done. It's a scam.
What'd you call him?
An hour later, he calls me, the guy. He goes, listen, the guy was really nice, so I tried to work it out with him. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? He goes, yeah, but then, to pay the fine, like I had to create a crypto account, and I had to pay crypto. And I'm like, dude, that didn't raise red flags for you? He's like, yeah, I sent $3,000, but now he wants me to send more. I'm like, of course he wants you to send more.
Keep doing it, yeah.
I had a client.
But wait, 3 weeks later, I get another guy calls me, and this is my client for some business stuff. And he goes, listen, my wife and I, this guy's on the phone. He says he's an agent, and I'm like, put me on the phone with the guy, right? I'm like, hopefully it's the same guy, right? So, and I literally, the time before when I'm like, this is a lawyer, he's like, give me your bar number. Like, that's going to intimidate me, right? Like, yeah.
It's public record.
Right. So then the second I emerge on, I'm like, hey, it's me again. I haven't talked to you in a while. He goes, who's this? I'm like, this is lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Give me your bar number. I'm like, yeah, my bar number is go fuck yourself. I'm not allowed to give you anything, you scumbag. And he's like, I'll come arrest you. I'm like, oh, really? I'm at mile marker 76 on Alligator Alley. Come arrest me, you scumbag. My client's like, dude, I can't believe how you talk to these law enforcement. I'm like, I wasn't talking to law enforcement, you moron. I wouldn't talk to law enforcement like that.
So is that you in the helicopter that's above me?
But,
yes.
But he did the right thing. He called me, right? That's all you got to do. Just
After $3,000.
Call a lawyer. It's more probably, because that guy would have kept depositing,
Well, I had a client who called me, and she's like, yeah, the IRS called, and they said that I owed $750 in back taxes, and I told them I didn't have a credit card, and they said that it's okay. They take gift cards, and and I'm like sitting here. I'm like, are
The
you
IRS we'll take Macy's cards.
No, it was a Best. They told her to get a Best Buy
we
gift
want Best
card.
Buys. We take
And
Best
I
Buys
was
at Christmas, just at Christmas in our office.
Adidas store.
Since when has
Bed
the
Bath
IRS,
and Beyond. We'll take Bed Bath and Beyond.
When has the IRS started taking Best Buy gift cards?
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh my God. Point of the story: call fucking a defense attorney. Call an attorney, then get to a defense attorney.
And if they have a warrant for your arrest, they're not going to call you and tell you. They're going to work it out.
Yeah,
They're going to show up.
Yeah, if you deposit crypto, you know what I mean? Dude, honestly, everybody
We laugh at that, but it happens every day.
Crypto is literally ideal for this kind of shit, like money laundering and crime. We're not going to get into that though.
The price of Bitcoin is directly related to the supply and demand of money laundering.
Exactly, exactly, dude. Like it depends on how much of the cartel they're trying to move money in. That's what the price that drives the price.
Money laundering is doing well today.
Yeah, dude. Point is, call a lawyer. All right. Next topic: funniest things that we've seen in court. And dude, what's crazy is when you're a defense attorney and you live these crazy stories, your mind does something strange because it needs to create more room on the hard drive, so it just starts deleting things, and you have no memory of it. Like
this
and the
crazy stuff you saw.
you should not forget, right? Like how many times have you reminded me of stories that I'm like, holy shit?
Exactly.
Yeah, like Danny, how about the time when how about the time you admitted a piece of dog shit into evidence? Remember that case?
That was the best.
I literally had to blow up an exhibit of dog shit. Remember?
The guy has these security cameras on the side of his house, and this lady takes a shovel and throws a
throwing dog
pile
shit.
of
She's
dog
like this
poop.
old Jewish lady. She's throwing dog shit into this Persian Iranian neighbor. They're having the fucking Middle East war in Boca.
And she's
They're
got
the neighbors.
Israeli flags on the side of
Yeah,
her house.
she's like flying Israeli flags in his face. I'm like, oh God. And she's the victim, like.
So,
So what did you enter into evidence?
So
a picture of the poop.
Oh.
No, so literally he got arrested. So he goes and hires, he thinks he's smart. I'm going to hire a Jew lawyer to defend me, right?
go.
So I'm defending this crazy guy.
stretch.
He was crazy too. Like
Yeah,
he
he
was crazy.
was nuts.
She was a little crazy too, but he was really crazy. And he was like real mad about the dog shit, remember? So we had to bring in, it was like he had a restraining order, she had a restraining order.
order on
and he
him.
violated it, right?
Yeah, but then he set up security like the most elaborate security system I've ever seen. He has a whole room of
Yeah, like a green room, like here. He's like, yeah. This is camera 180,
Yeah. He's like, now if we go back 5 days ago, this is her walking outside. I'm like, how do you know when she, well, I have a motion detector. It tells me when. And so he's like, her dog takes a poop and then she takes a shovel and throws it over in my yard.
Where's that? Authenticate the picture, right? I'm like, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Not to name names. I'm like, do you recognize this photo? And it's like a blown up exhibit of dog shit, dude, right? He goes, yes, I do. And he's like this crazy, like, yes, I do. And I'm like, how do you recognize it? It's dog shit. I'm like, whose dog shit is it? Hey, dog shit, he's screaming, right? Like, did you take, I took the picture, I have many pictures, I have videos, and the judge has just got her head down like, oh my
This is what we went to law
God,
school
dude.
for.
That was one of the funnier ones, remember?
That was the best.
He was psycho, dude. He ended up turning on me, too. He thought I was part of a Jewish conspiracy. That's like that's a daily thing now, right? This Jewish conspiracy.
I thought you were.
Yeah, right. I'm on the Jewish conspiracy. I always joke, like, I'm on the conference call to rule the world. I just keep missing the call. I'm not on that list, you know? Look at the media shitting on Jews right now. But believe me, we're not running anything, okay? We're not running anything. Maybe a couple law firms.
A couple.
Hollywood.
Are we gonna go there? We're not going there. Relax, you Nazi bastards. You know, that was a crazy
case
one.
was the best. I love that case.
That was great.
Like how what did we do? We filed a writ of prohibition.
Oh God,
because
we're gonna
remember
talk language. We had to like,
the first judge, not naming names, was like a 90-year-old senior judge who, when you read the transcript, he actually issued the restraining order against the petitioner. He's like, here's telling her, he's like, now you, ma'am, you stay away from him.
Yeah, he would scream at her too. They were the judge would basically scream at both of them every time. But the case went on for like 4 years.
Yeah,
it kept happening. So I tell people, if you're fighting with your neighbor, this is a good piece of advice.
Move.
Don't fight.
Sell the house.
Because restraining orders start flying, and then it becomes criminal, and then it gets. Those are the craziest cases
Once you
I
take
think
the
I've
restraining order
had.
out, you have to disclose it to the buyer. So you don't want to do that.
You do, right? I
At
don't
some
know if
point
that's
you would.
law. I don't know. That's just, I think you made that up. But dude, like,
I just remember he got
Did you make that
banned
up? Is
from
that
going
real?
to his house. He got like prevented from going to his house that one day, and then his wife like passed out in the courthouse.
oh my
It
God,
just
that was
like,
funny. Dude, he got so crazy. He was starting to threaten us. Remember, he wrote he wrote a complaint against me to the bar. It was the best. His complaint was because he was so like out of it and crazy.
It was like
I get like a notepad letter the bar sends me, and it says, Jew lawyer, Jew fuck, conspiracy, Boca police. Like, I couldn't even make out. It was just Jew lawyer this, all this like anti-Semitic shit. So I call the
What's your
bar.
response?
I call the
I'm
bar
a Jew
examiner.
lawyer?
I call the bar examiner. I'm like, dude, did you send me this? Like, it asked for a response. I'm like, you want me to respond to this? He goes, oh, well, let me look up the. He looks at it, he goes, oh God. He goes, oh God. He goes, can you just write 2 sentences and fax it? This is when fax it back. I'm like, well, I have no defense for Jew lawyer. Well, like, I am a Jew lawyer. And, you know, the Jew fuck thing, I don't know, that's up for interpretation. You know, like, he died laughing. That was great, man. That was a good one. There's so many we could go on forever. But
oh God.
how about, I have remember the one guy I had that it was like, he was, I don't remember, the charge was like, I don't remember what the charge, it doesn't matter, but he was so incompetent. Like, he spoke Creole. And it took me a while to figure out that the guy was out to lunch. Like, he just didn't
spoke
understand.
Creole?
No, I don't.
But
He would pretend like he spoke English.
Oh.
So I thought like we were conversing, and then he said something one day. I'm like, all right, this motherfucker doesn't know a word of what I'm saying. So I had to get a Creole interpreter. Then I realized the guy's batshit crazy, right?
Yeah,
So he's telling me like, you know, oh, in Haiti, I seen people turn into animals, and I saw people, you know, come back from the dead, and
the flaming rolling chickens.
I
was the
saw
best.
flaming rolling chickens.
Yeah, there were flaming rolling chickens that would roll down the street.
Right. So I get an eval. I get
that
I get an eval on him, right? Evaluation on him, and first doctor says, yeah, batshit crazy. Second doctor comes back, and it was a state she always rules everybody confident, right? She comes back and she says, well, you know, he did make statements about seeing people come back from the dead and people turning into animals. But in Haiti, that's cultural. That's what she said, right? And I go, Jesus Christ. And she comes back, and I'm like, dude, and so I walk in, and the prosecutor's like, well, they see he's not crazy. I'm like, did you read the report? Did you read the zombie? I called it the zombie report. Read the zombie report. And she just starts laughing. She's like, well, we have to have a hearing on it. So that means we have to go and literally call the doctors and cross-examine them. So we called it the zombie report. It became like a fucking famous thing, you know? So we literally, the hearing ends up on Halloween of all nights too, right? And I'm just there, and it was the best judge ever. He had the best sense of humor. And we were up there, and literally, I'm just questioning people. I put her up in the stand, and she gets on the stand, the doctor. And I'm like, so let me ask you a question. Like, you say that like werewolves and like zombies in Haiti, that's normal. I didn't say that. I said it's cultural. I'm like, well, is that what you
So it's
wrote?
a little Haiti too.
I go, so let me ask you a question. Where do you live? She's like, Plantation. I'm like, so if you live in Plantation and you went outside and you saw a werewolf run by you, would that be normal? And she goes, no, it would not be normal, right? I'm like, but in Haiti, if you saw a werewolf walk by, that would be cultural, right? And she's like, I didn't say that, right? And I literally milked this so much. And the judge got his head down. I'm going slow, right? And then at one point, she goes, I go, so let's talk about zombies a little bit. I didn't say zombies. I'm like, oh, well, Pete, what are zombies? Coming back from the dead is a zombie, right? She goes, it can be. Now we're having this whole discussion, right? She goes, it can't be. I'm like, so it's a zombie. I mean, are we splitting hairs? She goes, so then I go, how about lichen? I didn't say lichen. I said werewolves. I'm like, let's talk about that some more. And I did it literally for like 2 hours, dude.
You were like, so flaming chicken zombies and werewolves are real in Haiti, but they're not real in the United States.
Some of the
What
things-
about vampires?
Yeah, like, I literally went from monster to monster. It was one of the greatest things, you know?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if I can say this one without crossing it.
Don't. If you have to think about it, don't.
Okay.
You have a moral guideline, we gotta stop and.
The guy, you were like, the police, is a motion to suppress we did. And the police, the guy was like smoking crack inside his house. And the police come up to the door and they knock on the door and they say, oh, and he just let us in and, you know, said we could search. And the client was like, hell no, I didn't. They knocked down the door. And you said, it was a good motion to suppress hearing, but you're like, Your Honor, it's undisputed that they were smoking crack in the house. When's the last time you saw a crackhead open the door for a police officer? He's like, they're looking out
Like
the window.
crack part, I believe the door opening, not so much. It doesn't make any sense, you
He's
know?
like, if you had, the police story doesn't make any sense. If you had heard the guys go ahead and be like, holy shit, 5-0, run! And they all jump out the back window, that would make sense.
It's like all the residue cases when they used to prosecute the residue in the crack pipes. If you smoke crack out of a crack pipe, there's residue, and that
Just
will-
for all you crack pipe
Not
smoker
crack pipers.
listeners.
you scrape that off, and they'll test it and say, it's a felony now. You have paraphernalia charges, a misdemeanor, and then they charge you with the possession of cocaine from the residue
Right.
being sold.
That was the where's the beef argument from Wendy's, right?
Only Broward County did it, by the way.
Right.
And then one of the elements is you had to have knowledge of that substance being there for
Right.
the crime. So we'd always go to trial with them and put the crack out on the stands. Like the famous line was, if there was crack in there and I knew it, I would have smoked
I would have smoked it.
I would never leave any crack left in the pipe.
Pookie on the stand, like, dude, the shit was calling me.
Should be
you know?
calling me.
Those are the best. Were you with me when I had the client named Peaches High?
Sounds familiar.
Dude, his name was
It's like you said
Peaches
before.
High, and I had a
Shit,
drug charge. We were in trial. His name was Mr. fucking High. And I'm like, Judge, I need to call him a different name. It's not fair that I'm calling him Mr. High over and over. The judge is like, dude, we're not changing the guy's fucking name. But the best, I had a guy named Wiebert Innocent.
A lot of innocence in there.
That wasn't his real first name. I changed it up for the record. But his
his
last
last
name was Innocent. So it was Mr. Innocent. I wouldn't shut up about it. Like, Mr. Innocent, Mr. Innocent, Mr. Innocent. They're like, oh,
That's
you love this.
cultural
You
also.
love this, right? That's cultural. That really is cultural, by the way. Zombies, not so much, you know? Dude, one of the funniest things I remember was the urinating in public. Have you ever seen, like, most people don't go to trial on urinating in public. It's a city case, so it was always the city prosecutor. And most of those city cases, they don't go to trial. They're like
No.
municipal stuff, right? Usually they work it out
Pay
with
your
like
fine, that's it.
minor stuff, right? But there was one crazy guy, and I'm not going to name the prosecutor. The prosecutor wasn't. He's a good dude. We all know him. He's retired, but I watched him, and he came up to me in the home. He's like, dude, I have to go to trial on this urinating in public. I have this crazy, like, homeless guy. He won't take anything I want to give him, you know? I'm like, well, you got to go to trial on it. So the funniest is one of the things that they have to prove for urinating in public, as crazy as it sounds, is that the officer saw the stream of the urine coming from the tip of the penis. It literally needs to come out in testimony, dude. I swear, I'm not making this up. So literally, you can see, like, he's up there, and you can tell he hadn't tried a case in a while. He's kind of nervous, you know? And literally, he's like, so, officer, did you see his penis? And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm in the crowd, and the cop's like, yeah, I saw his penis. And were you able to see the tip? And was there a stream emanating from the tip? I'm like, oh my God, this is the stuff. Taxpayer money, man.
Yep.
Taxpayer money. That's where it's going to, urinating in public. You know?
One of my kids, I had a homeless person who I figured I got appointed to the case, so I figured she just wasn't going to show up and I'd get $75 and be done. But this woman showed up at every single hearing, and it was what's it called, public intoxication case. And so I was like, okay, well, were you intoxicated? No, I was smoking crack. And I was like, okay, so I'll look up some case law, and in North Carolina, public intoxication was required to be alcohol. And so when the police officer gets on the stand, I'm like, well, you know, you've arrested her before. Yeah, how many times? About 20. What did you arrest her for? Everything at the same time, possession of crack. All right, so every officer that testified said they'd only arrested her for possession of crack. She wants to testify. She gets up there, I'm like, were you drinking? She said, I only had one sip of my 40, and then they ran up on me and put me in jail. And I was like, okay, well, were you drunk? No. What were you doing? She says, I was smoking crack. I was smoking rock. And so I was like, you know, in my closing was like, Your Honor, under these limited facts and circumstances, smoking crack in public is not a crime. All right. So, and the judge was just sitting there like, I'm going to find that it's pretty clear that she was smoking rock.
Yeah,
Not
and
guilty.
she's off.
She got off. Just walked out there, arrested her for a felony instead of a misdemeanor.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job,
Yeah,
Mike.
good job, Mike. Dude, the next topic was the dumbest thing you've said in front of a jury. And you have a good story for that by accident, but I'm going to go into one first. Do you remember the swinging meat?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, so I'm in trial for the swinging meat. I'm in trial.
Just
and
stand
the
up,
guy-
Oh, I hear this
laughing
again.
before he
I
was
really
so
don't.
good. This guy was like accused of like running like he was like a pimp. He had like prostitutes, and they would go to this like motel, and like you'd meet him, and then he would assign a motel room for the prostitute. It was like I was a public defender. It was in county court for some reason. I don't know how. And the cops set up like a whole sting operation, and filmed the videos. Had undercover. They wanted to catch this guy, right? So they catch him, and they arrest him. And then it just so happens that the one video that they have of him, and they did like 20 stings that day, but the one video they have of him where they say he admits on film, they lose the video for some reason, right? And it literally could have been just an accidental thing, but we harped on that loss of the video thing, right? So, because it was such a bad case otherwise, right? I always tell people, when the facts are bad, it's like, look over here, right? And so we get up, and my trial partner at the time goes, listen, you got to say to them, when you get up for closing, you say to them what smells of this case like a rotten bag of, like a bag of rotten meat is the fact that they lost these tapes, right? I go, yeah, that's great. And I get up, I start talking to the
So it was
jury,
lost
and
in
I'm
translation.
going, and in the middle I just go, and ladies and gentlemen, what's swinging, and I do with my arm, what's swinging over this trial like a bag of rotten meat. No, I just go like rotten meat. And the whole jury, I see them go, oh my God. And dude, the trial partner's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, is that they lost the tapes. And then I go and I sit down, and he goes, what the fuck was that? He goes, swinging? Who said swinging? You need to apologize. I'm like, yeah, I got to figure that out. You know, it was real bad. Swinging. What was the one that you did? You had a good one, too.
I had to give you a preface for this. I was an intern in the PD's office at the time, and this judge, he had it's county court. Once a month, he had what's called a junk docket, and all the cases that people didn't qualify for public defenders or there's no jail time certified. They did all these bench trials, no juries, like all in one day. Like 80 people come there at the end of the month, and as a public defender, was there to assist them, explain to them what they could try the case, take the deal, whatever they want to do, try and resolve the case. And this one lady, she was charged with prostitution because she's a massage therapist, and they raided the massage place. And she's telling me that the cops came in there, and they would come in for several weeks at a time, getting their massages, getting their happy endings, and then
Oh my
go
God.
away. That was the whole thing. They would build their case that way. So she's like, I remember this cop because I just want my money back. He like $370 she took of mine. That was my rent money. It had nothing to do with work or anything like that. State attorney wouldn't do anything with the case, and the cops were there. I said, well, go to trial with it. See if the judge says, that had nothing to do with it. That's all you could do. So I explained to her how it works. You're going to have to ask the cop questions. And she said, well, the one thing is he masturbated himself. I didn't touch him that way.
my God.
He did it himself. I said, well, not a big defense there, but okay. I said, what did you say to him? He said, well, when he's sitting there, I gave him a massage, and he's sitting there naked. He's got an erection, and he's like
my
looking
God.
at it,
Apologize,
looking at
everybody.
this, looking at. And he goes, can you do something about that? And she's like, that's in your hands, literally. And like, all right, you know what? We had a great judge. He's retired now, and he's big black guy, Judge Zebedee Wright, coolest judge in the world,
Right.
but didn't take shit from anybody. Okay,
Right.
he taught inner city basketball, and he was just from the street, and he just didn't take anybody's crap. So I said, this is the perfect judge to do this in front of. Just explain to him that he masturbated himself. You didn't do that because that might be the crossover where the prostitution came in. So she didn't get all that, but she's going there. So they're doing it. I'm sitting off to the side. The benches, judges right here, witnesses right next to them. I'm off to the side. And she's asking the questions she's doing. I wrote a bunch of things down for her. And then she's like telling the cop all these questions. And she didn't ask anything about the masturbation. And I'm like, she's like, is that it? I go, ask about the masturbation. And she's like, what? I go, the masturbation. That's the key.
You're saying it from the table.
From the
there,
side
right?
there.
Yeah.
Saying, she's, what? I go, the masturbation. As I do that, the judge looks over, Mr. Schweiker, what are you doing over there? I'm like, oh, God.
You're like, nothing, Judge.
And then thank God, oh, yeah, that's right. Isn't it true you masturbated yourself? I didn't do that to you. Oh, thank God. The bailiff's like, Larry, what are you doing? There's 85 people in this room, and
my
there's trials
God.
going on.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, oh.
Oh my God.
I was an intern. It wasn't even a lawyer at this time. I go, this is it. This is how I rule my
This is the pinnacle of my
Masturbation.
career. I'm in the middle of court, dude. Oh my God.
I think my favorite one came in a closing argument where my client it was a drug case, ecstasy and weed, and he lived with his girlfriend, and the marijuana, when they raided the house, the marijuana was found in this pink heart with fluffy stuff on the outside. And my client, tattoos all on his face, and he's a gangster. And so my closing argument was like, ladies and gentlemen, my client, he's a thug, and thugs don't wear pink fluffy things.
It don't make sense.
I was like, that pink fluffy, said something like, now I'm sure
The
there's
Wookiee defense, yeah.
some gang out there somewhere proving me wrong right now. But where we are right now, thugs don't wear pink fluffy things. That's his girlfriend's. That's not his.
Oh my God, we could go on forever. This is a good place to wrap this
Yeah, that's a
episode,
good
man. We'll think of more next time we come up. Hopefully, I have these guys back soon. It's always entertaining to share old war stories with these guys. Hopefully, it's entertaining for you guys. Thank you all for joining us. They'll be back. There'll be more. We're just talking shit freely, as freely as we can.
If you learn nothing from this, whatever you do, as soon as a cop asks you for something, you speak freely to him. Tell him everything you want
No,
to know.
dude, opposite of what he said. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time. Love you all. Cut.